let's begin. The goals for this session. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call in, again, this is very interactive. So Gretchen, the winner of the bottle of wine.
Yes.
Can you tell me, just read off for me those 3 bullet points there, the goals for this session.
Learn how to create, strategize, develop, market, and brand yourself/business. Perfect the sell of pitching your brand, and have fun doing it.
Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Yes, no, maybe so? You're with me. Okay, so I'm going to ask, because this is really going to determine how I run this workshop, right? So how many of you have a business idea currently, are creating a business, or currently an entrepreneur? Because that's going to help me sort of formulate how I need to deliver this. So for those of you who currently have a business, a new startup, can you show me just by a show of hands? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, how many people are considering starting a business? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I love it. Yes. You guys are in high school?
Yes, I'm in high school.
Oh, that's even better. Oh, that's so great. Are you the
8th grade exam.
you the teacher?
One of them.
One of them? That's awesome. Okay, in the back. What business do you have?
I have an education nonprofit that works with this middle school, Davis Leadership Academy in Dorchester. And
Leadership Academy.
And many other middle schools and high school students, as well as.
You sold me on the word leadership, so I'm good.
We're focused on them.
That's awesome.
I have a for-profit that is building learning technologies for education.
So STEM, essentially, right? You're incorporating a lot of that. Yes?
Yeah, tools for teachers, but yeah.
Okay. I saw another one. I saw 3 more. Here. With the lovely Ray.
Well, I'm soon going to be retired,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking to start up something new, and just not sure where my focus is going to be right now.
I love when I hear that. We're going to have a good time today. All right, somebody else. Come on, utilize me. I'm here. Like, come on. Yes.
I'm a furniture design business. I'm an artist and I paint furniture,
So there is a gentleman that I just met. You sat there in the last session, yes? Okay, there's a gentleman that sat right behind, I'm sorry, what's your name with the cool apple? Jen. Sat right behind where Jen was sitting. He asked the question about how do you combine personal and professional. So do you know who that is? His name is, help me, give me 1 second. Omar, yes. His name is Omar, and he wants to start a furniture design company. Yes? No?
Oh, I'm not starting a business. I'm just more focused on personal brand.
Okay, so, and you start? No, personal branding for you? Oh, okay, all right. Personal branding or business? Personal? Personal? Yes. Personal.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm an artist. I sing. So
Mhm.
if I can get more ideas around music.
Awesome. Just a little bit about myself. I started in marketing first from college. Always knew I wanted to be in marketing. I love coming up with ideas. I like coming up with ideas that currently exist and how can I make them better. And then even coming up with things that don't exist. And I think MIT is just all of that in terms of coming up with things that just don't exist, right? The other thing is when I left college, and my first job was at Heart and Soul magazine. I majored in journalism as well as marketing, and what I wanted to do was combine the two because at the time there was a void in the market of publishing. And that void was a magazine that spoke to women that looked like me. And when I said that looked like me, had the same skin tone as me, right? For teenage girls. They didn't have that. To this day, guess what? They still don't have it. Right? So I went to school to major in journalism and in marketing, and I said, I'm going to start a magazine. And I'm going to start a magazine, i.e. fill the void, right? Do the research, go to school, do everything I'm supposed to do, and create this magazine. Fast forward, my last 2 weeks of college as a senior, I'm at a bookstore, and I see a magazine that says, brand new issue, first issue. And guess who's on the cover? An African-American teenage girl. And I went, I just spent 4 years. What am I going to do, right? So this is exactly what I did. I picked up a piece of paper, or I picked up that magazine, and there's something called the masthead in the magazine. Basically, a masthead on the side is where they list the publisher, where the advertising offices are. You guys seen that, right? So I go directly to the publisher's page, and it says that he's based in Chicago, and guess what I did? Speak up. Well, yeah, I did that eventually, but first I had to call him, right? So I called him and I said, hi, my name is Tasha Adams. I'm calling from the home of Carson Products, also known as Dark and Lovely. I just saw your magazine on the newsstand, and one of the things I'd like to do is talk to you about opportunities. Thank you, here's my number. What did he do?
He got back to me
He sure did. Why do you think that is?
to connect with you and to see why you called him.
Absolutely. So,
I said
Mr. Future
to-
Artist, that's going to be standing in front of millions, you got to speak up.
I said to connect with her to see why she called him.
To connect with me to see my purpose for calling. And so I said, he's not going to call me. I'll call him again tomorrow, and I'll call him again the next day, and again and again. But he called within an hour, and he says, hello, my name is Reggie Ware, and I'm calling for Tasha Adams. And I thought, oh my gosh, he actually called back. And he goes, so what can I do for you? I said, I want to speak to you about opportunities. He says, and those opportunities are what? And I said, I just went from cover to cover of your magazine. Here's what I'd like to see changed. Here's what I like. Here's what I didn't like. And I can say those things why? Because I spent the last 4 freaking years doing research on the kind of magazine that I wanted to see. So he said to me, okay, Dark and Lovely, you want to place an ad or not? That's really why you're calling. And I said, well, actually about that. So Dark and Lovely is in Savannah, where I'm based out of. It's actually about 15 minutes around the corner from my house, but I'm a college student. I just wanted to know if I could get an internship with you. Dead silence on the phone. Fast forward, literally 4 weeks later, I was in his office. To this day, he's my mentor, one of my mentors. And so I went to the magazine business and realized after about the 2nd year, it's not what I want to do, believe it or not. So that previous workshop that was here, or that discussion when they said you start in the 9th grade, right? Your interests are varied. By the time you're in college, it may vary. So the reason why I'm telling you the story, as you'll see in terms of my career path, all of these things will inevitably add to where I need to be or where I am. So I left the magazine business and I went to MTV. When I went to MTV a long time ago, wow, 16 years ago, 17 years ago, and I appreciate that, I'll take that, I appreciate that. So I remember working at MTV and I thought it was the coolest brand in the world. And what I did not want to do was sales. And guess where they put me in? They put me in freaking sales, and I said I don't want to do sales, but the reason why they put me in sales, when I was at Heart and Soul magazine, my mentor said, you're going to sell this magazine. You sold yourself over the phone. Oh no, you're going to sell this magazine, and you're going to make some money. And I eventually started selling ads and didn't realize that I was actually pretty good at selling. So that's how I got the job at MTV. I had to sell MTV to all the states, 7 states in the Midwest. Left MTV, itching to get to New York, flew to New York, got a job at Playboy. Playboy has really good articles, only 12% of it is, okay. All right, so with that said, I was at Playboy for 1 year, and they hired me so that I could debunk, or I should say revitalize, their debunked college program. And the reason I was brought in was because I had previous experience where MTV, that whole college demo made sense for MTV. Made sense for Playboy. They wanted Playboy to be hip and young and vibrant. So they bring me in and they basically say, we need you to market to the college market. So I did that for about 2 years. From there, when I was marketing for the Playboy campus and doing college tours, I ran into a lot of music industry people, right? And in doing that, there's something called networking, and we'll get to that. When I started networking, they said, hey, you should probably come over here to the label side. We've got a job. You should look into it. So I did that. So that's how I ended up at Motown Records. Motown and then Bad Boy, and then the rest is history, as they say. Right? So I'm hoping that you'll see how all of those things connected the dots in terms of what I'm doing currently. What's so special about moi? What are the benefits? So I'm going to go with someone that says they're branding themselves. You are? Again, I'm sorry. What's your name? Natalia. It's beautiful. Natalia, so when you say you brand yourself, what service do you want to provide when you say you want to brand yourself?
Just in a professional work environment. So I was just recently told that I need to come up with a story, develop a story that I could tell when I introduce myself. Even at networking events or
Okay.
just meeting somebody in the company.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so with that said, what industry are you in, Natalia?
Finance.
Finance. Ugh. It's really hard to navigate in finance in terms of really bringing out a personality in most folks. I have seasoned executives in financial companies who super duper smart. You put them into a room and all they know how to do is talk about what? Numbers, right? And so they actually hired me to show them how to navigate and how to be a little bit more approachable. And so that's really interesting. So what are the benefits for anybody that's starting a business or want to start a business? Who is that?
Well, I've worked for public television. I've worked for a major publishing company doing photo research. And more recently, I've done outreach at the Boston Public Health Commission. And what I'm passionate about is the fact that I'm a 16-year breast cancer survivor. And I have no plans of giving up or giving out. I've already told my family, don't use the word battle on my obituary. It's God's battle, it's not mine. So I could go on and on.
So are you, can I ask, are you involved in a lot of organizations in terms
Yes.
of educating?
Yes.
Okay, so I can only imagine that you're extremely passionate about that in terms of educating, getting the mammograms, all of that, correct? Okay, so write those things down. For those of you who are just interested in branding yourself or you're trying to figure out how to do that, write down all the things that you're passionate about or even what you're interested in. Because there are a lot of people who still don't really know what they're passionate about. And that's okay. Just write down what your interests are. So for instance, Natalia, when you walk into a room and you introduce yourself, and let's just say you're in a sea of men, all suits, and they're looking at you and you're going, oh my gosh, what am I going to talk about? What can she do to make, because you know what the job is? It's not about making you feel comfortable. It's about you making the other 20 people in that room comfortable. Do you get that?
I never thought about this way.
But do you guys understand why?
You said finance, right?
Okay, so the scenario is this. Natalia walks into a room, predominant, let's just say all men. You're in finance, right? And so she's here because she's trying to figure out, how do I walk into a room, introduce myself, make a great first impression, right? So the assumption is that she's probably the most uncomfortable person in the room. Why? She's the only woman, right? The reality is this. These guys are probably the most uncomfortable in the room. And so what happens is the pressure's on you to make everybody else feel comfortable. How can you do that, Natalia?
I don't know.
How do you think she could do that,
A joke.
guys? A joke? That's if you're funny. If you're not funny, don't try it. But what you can do is find, what are your passions? What are your interests? The people in the room, what are their interests? What are their passions? So when things come about, I always tell my students to always read as much as you can. When you meet people and you engage with them, find out what's interesting about them. If there's something that you don't know about that person, ask them about it, learn about it, because guess what happens? That's how I found out about Omar, right? He told me about his furniture company. I love people, I love hearing stories. So then I know that about Omar, and then I just met you, and I love connecting, right? So then I'm going to introduce you to Omar. So my point is, in every opportunity where there's human contact, always walk away and say, what was my takeaway from that person? Does that make sense? It can be something so minute or something really big. There should always be an exchange. It's unique. So, Mr. Future Artist, Grammy Award-winning artist, what makes you unique? Because there's a trillion singers out there, right? So why are you different? What's your genre of music?
R&B.
R&B. Who's your favorite artist?
Chris Brown.
Wow.
It's the music. It's all about the music.
It's all about the music.
It's all about the music.
So Chris Brown is your favorite artist?
Yes.
So if we were to hear you sing, what's your name?
Jamari.
Jamari. Okay, so if we were to hear Jamari sing, who would Jamari sound like to the average person that's listening to you for the first time? Who are they going to compare you to?
Jamari. Yeah.
That's a good question.
But-
I mean, that's a good answer.
Yes. But I could say that what should I say? I've branched off towards Chris Brown, Michael Jackson. That's where my sound is because I've grown up.
Okay, so when you sing and people have heard you sing, what do they say to you? Who do they say you sound like?
They say I either sound like Usher or in that area Chris Brown is.
Okay, so here's what happens when you're in the music industry, and I can tell you this quite honestly, right? So I've sat in rooms where a young aspiring artist will come in, and we're all jaded, meaning we've seen pretty much every artist come and perform for us. So we're literally sitting, and this is no exaggeration, it's quite intimidating. So they come in. Sylvia Rohn is currently the president of Epic Records. At the time, she was president at Motown, and she was my boss. And she would come in on the fly and say, hey, Ms. Fox, I need you in there. We have some artists. And she would say, some artists, right? Forget the whole media kit that you just sent with your name on it. She'll go, there's some artists. Come in here and listen to this artist. So we would literally sit just like this. Okay, now how long is this going to take, right? So the moment you walk in, before you say anything, we're completely sizing you up, your look, your image, how you walk into a room, right? It says a lot about you before you say anything.
So when you say, how are you different? You mean like when you walk
Like
into the room,
personality.
you're not coming in with a suit jacket like Chris Brown. You mean
Absolutely.
like you're not coming in, you coming in with purple hair. Chris Brown doesn't have purple hair. So
Coming in
you
like
mean-
myself.
Come in like yourself and be perfect example, right? When you know what that passion is, you'll hear a lot of artists that say, you know, I sing because it makes me happy and I can actually change the mood of someone. You're still changing someone's life. You ever listen to a song and it moves you emotionally? So you're evoking emotions. So a lot of times, even with music, you're changing lives by swaying a thought, affecting an emotion. What human experience do you want your client or consumer to have by doing business with you?